guys, welcome back again to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to look at how to write a short story. And short story does not mean 10 lines. It's actually worth 100 marks as one of the choice questions in the composing. So first of all, we're going to look at a sample short story taken from the 2008 Leaving Cert Ordinary Level exam papers. This story is called Paradise, and it's adapted from the short story by John Boyne. We will read the story first, and afterwards we will look at some of the features that a short story has. Okay, start. For years, Ben was kept awake at night by cars pulling into and out of the 24-hour parking lot next to his home. He would only have drifted off to sleep for a few minutes when he would suddenly be awakened by the revving engines or the sound of noisy customers coming back to collect their cars. Ben was exhausted all the time. He decided he would have to do something about it. At first, he wrote a letter to the council, stating his concerns and seeking their assistance. They wrote back to apologise for their complete inability to help. No one, they said, could stand in the way of business. Next, he called a late-night phone-in show and told the rest of the nation's insomniacs, people who have trouble sleeping, about his troubles. A man who identified himself as Big Dave appeared on the line to say that there were many things he could do to help Ben for a price. Finally, he described to the owner of the parking lot how life was being destroyed by the lack of sleep. Maybe you could close in the evenings, suggested Ben. 6 would be perfect, but I could live with 7 or 8. I understand that business is business. It wouldn't be much of a 24-hour parking lot, came the reply, if we closed it all, now would it? Ben agreed and decided that he had no choice but to move. He placed his home on the market, but interested buyers were put off by the parking lot next door. Take 40% off your asking price, advised one lady, and I'll consider making an offer. Ben, tired and fed up, called her an unpleasant name and closed the door in her face. 2 hours later, her husband, a rather small man, arrived and caused trouble. Time went by, years really, and Ben rarely got more than 2 or 3 hours sleep a night. His work suffered, his social life became non-existent, and he took to the drink. He read of a prime minister who had never slept for more than 2 or 3 hours a night. Some argued that this might have explained some of his strange decisions. One morning, a sign appeared outside the parking lot, which stated that it had closed for business. The cars stopped coming. The street felt quiet. Slowly, over a matter of months, Ben's sleeping habits improved, and before long he was sober and working as a cartoonist with a local newspaper. A week or 2 later, he met a kind lady, and romance blossomed. This was the happiest Ben had ever been. At long last, his life was back on track. A year later, a new building sprang up where the parking lot had been. The foreman told him that it was to be a nightclub. It's called Paradise, he said. Is that some sort of joke? Asked Ben. It was true. He decided as he sat awake in his apartment, half drunk, for he had gone back on the drink, alone, for his girlfriend had left him, and with only empty days ahead of him, for he had lost his cartooning job. You don't know what you've got till it's gone. I hope you enjoyed that short story. What we're going to look at now is the formula for writing a short story. I'm going to base it on our story Paradise. So, the short story formula. So let's just think about our story about Ben. First of all, a short story needs a setting. It needs a location. In the story Paradise, the location is a city centre bedroom next to a 24-hour parking lot. Second thing we need in our short story is a character. Give your character a name. Our character is Ben. The third step you need to do is, what is his or her problem? Our friend Ben has a sleeping problem. He is an insomniac due to the 24-hour car park. Now, the next part of the story, explain all the ways he or she tries to solve the problem and include some dialogue. Our friend Ben, first he wrote to the city council. Result? Unsuccessful. They said they can't stand in the way of business. Second, he phoned up a late night phone-in radio show. The only satisfaction he got there was some guy called Big Dave said for the right price he could sort out the problem, and Ben did not take him up on the offer. Thirdly, he actually went and met the owner of the 24-hour car park. Again, he said, well, it wouldn't be much of a 24-hour car park if we closed early, would it? Finally, Ben tried to sell his home, once again to no success, because everyone said they didn't want to buy it because of the 24-hour car park, and the only one who offered him money wanted 40% off. So Ben completely gave up hope and his life went downhill. Basically, he took to the drink, he became an alcoholic, he had no social life, and his work suffered as well. So he had resigned himself to the fact that this was going to be his life. Now, the nice thing that happened is, the next step, life gets better, an unexpected thing happens. So what happened here was, one day he looked out the window and there was a sign up saying car park closed. He was absolutely delighted, and of course his life improved. Life started improving. Alright, so how did his life improve? He got good sleep for the next few months. He gave up drinking. He got a new job as a cartoonist in a local newspaper, and most of all, he got a new girlfriend, a kind lady. Now, on a normal story, it might just stop here. Happy ending and they all lived happily ever after. No, not in a short story. We need to have a little twist in the tale, a little twist in the story. So what goes up must come down. In paragraph 6, some unexpected worse event happened. In Ben's case, a new building went up. It was going to be a nightclub called Paradise. Once again, Ben's life went downhill. He went back on the drink, his girlfriend left him, and he lost his job. In the end of the story, we have a little moral. The main message or lesson learned from the story in this one was the old idiom, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. So let's you try. Okay, so now if you want to try to write your own short story, you can follow this formula as well. And what I've done here is I've created a little chart which will help put everything into perspective for you. So if you want to see it in a visual layout, short story, where does it take place? Who is your character? What is their main problem? Write about all the ways he or she tried to solve it with no success. You could include a line of dialogue with a bit of quotation mark around it. Then something good unexpectedly happens and life gets better. Then something unexpected happens and life gets worse. What is the main lesson learned from this story? And finally, give your story a title. So if you wanted to try this at home, you could set a timer. So the first paragraph, you could describe the location. Is your story in a city, in the countryside, in a beach, in a house? And try and use some of your senses. What can be seen, heard and smelt in your location? So you might start off your opening paragraph like that. Then you can go on to your next paragraph. Briefly describe who is your character. Name your character. Maybe describe their appearance, their age, their nationality, their personality. Next paragraph, give details of his or her problem. How long have they had this problem? Who caused this problem? Now, in paragraph 4, you can give all the ways he or she tried to solve it, but no success, and include a bit of dialogue. So, for example, you might give 3 ways he or she tried to solve the problem with no success each time. Have a short dialogue perhaps with another character and use quotation marks. Paragraph 5. Something unexpected happens and life gets better. So here you can describe the positive thing that happened and describe all the ways his or her life improved. Paragraph 6. Something unexpected happens and life gets worse. Here you can describe the negative thing that happened and all the negative effects it has on him or her. Paragraph 7. What is the main lesson you learned from this story? And the final step, give your story a title. Hope you enjoy writing your own short stories. Who knows, you might be really good at that type of genre and choose it in your 100-mark composing. If you don't want to miss out on any more videos from this channel, please like and subscribe.